What's up, B-Shine? This is Hologram Kizzy, aka Psalm 1. Growing up, I grew up in a really nice neighborhood. I went to private school, and then my grandmother and my grandfather, they lived in Inglewood. So for me, getting into hip hop was more about overcoming culture shock, because when I was little, I lived in a really nice neighborhood, and then quickly went to one of the worst neighborhoods in Chicago. And at that time, it was nothing but gangster rap being played, and I just didn't like it. I didn't like the glorification of where I lived, because I just saw so much wrong with it coming from another place. I could see the hardships. So for me, hip hop at the beginning was a lot like glorifying gangster shit. To me, I was wrong, obviously, but that's what it was. So it wasn't until I got to middle school and started hanging out with kids who were into indie rap, super underground indie heads at 7th grade, and they sort of helped me. My homie Colin helped me to listen and discover groups like Tribe and things like that. So after the music really infected me, I just went hard for it. So it was the music letting me know that genres existed within hip hop, and once I discovered those subgenres, that I was all in. I remember driving down Lakeshore Drive with him, and I had instrumentals playing, and I remember thinking, man, if he doesn't think I can rap, I'm not gonna rap, because I just really I really appreciated his opinion and his ear. And if he said something was whack, it was whack. So I remember rapping for him and being I think I'm gonna start rapping, but let me know how I sound. And I rapped for him, and he was like, you're good. He's like, you should keep rapping. And I was like, that's all I needed to hear. So as far as rapping, it was pretty much Colin. And then my cousins, I remember I told my cousins that I was gonna do hip hop. I didn't know what it meant, and I wasn't even rapping then. But I just remember there was a point where I was on my grandmother's porch with my two little cousins, and I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna do hip hop. And they were like, what's that? What do you mean do it? And I was just like, I don't know, but I think I'm gonna do it. Oh man. I mean, I started taking it more serious in college. And it didn't take much for me to get my name out there, because there's not a lot of girls rapping at my school. Now there is, and that's awesome. But at U of I, when we were coming up, man, there were really no female rappers that was really active and doing it. Shout out to Clover. Me and Clover were the only ones. So that's how we got notoriety, just by being female in it. But with that notoriety came the realization that maybe it was something I could take further than just kind of talent shows and things like that. And that's why I decided to start pressing up albums. It was more like an experiment to see if I could sell my music, if anyone would buy it. And then, after you press 1,000, you're pretty much a label. So, you know what I mean? Coming out of college with a shrink-wrapped, barcoded CD pretty much cemented, me in the scene. Because going back to Chicago with that barcoded CD in the era of CDRs, that made me just a level ahead. So for me, just being professional and just wanting and having good sound quality kind of put me at a level where people thought I was more professional than I actually was, just by having those things in place. I kept it secret from my mom until I couldn't anymore. And then, she was concerned. But once I started getting really good press, they loved it. You know what I mean? My mom's a journalist. So seeing her kid's name in the paper all the time, she's all about it. And now, with the mentoring stuff, I heard her tell a coworker that she's more proud of me now than she's ever been. And that was I almost, cried on the spot. Really, Mom? Because they wanted me to be a chemist. And that's what I did. You know what I'm saying? I said, I'm going to be a chemist. And my entire family was like, woo, you know what I mean? So I did it, and everybody was like, woo. And so to do that and then go back and say, okay, I'm not going to do any of this anymore. I'm going to rap. It's what the fuck? You know what I mean? So I think they were all just super shocked. I have some religious members of my family that are, pretty strict on the Jesus side. So it's not something that they're super proud of. But my mom is super proud of me, and I have a lot of family members that support what I do, so it's cool. Rhymesayers has given me support. They gave me like my first big look, you know what I mean? I traveled around the world on that first album, on that Death of Frequent Flyer. So from the years of 2006 to like 2008, they showed me a ton of support. Since then, none. I mean, that's not a dig or anything. It's just fact. I'm not a priority over there. It hurt me for a long time, like just keeping it real. But I got stronger, and I'm making better music now than I ever made. Will we ever do a project again together? I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know if putting an album out with that label is going to be the best thing for either one of us. But that's fam, always. Big up to Kevin Beecham. You've always shown me love. Rip to Idea, even though you probably aren't watching, but Rip Idea, because he was really a rapper that gave me a lot of insight on how to do it for a long time. Shout out to Brother Ali, who basically told Rhymesayers to pay attention to me. So all of those people, like, they were instrumental in getting my career started on a bigger level. Since then, I've been doing my own thing now. So big up to Charm Lab, Bonafide. This Rhymesayers thing has been a huge one. And just knowing that I can run my own business and still be in the conversation. Some people are associated with these entities, you know? Some people are associated with these labels. And once the label, like, does something or they don't do something with the label, then they're forgotten about. For me, I feel extremely blessed to be associated with being the first lady of Rhymesayers. No one can ever take that away from me. No matter if I never put another record out with that label, I'm still the first lady of Rhymesayers. And big up to Kimya Dawson, I love you. That no one can take that from me, and that's something I'm fucking proud of. So I don't gotta do no more records with Rhymesayers. That's me. And being able to overcome that and still, like, I'm still very critically acclaimed. I still sell records. I still go on tour. Still do everything that I wanted to do in 2006. I just do it on a smaller scale now because I don't have a machine behind me. But I'm building my own machine, so that's, like, for me, it's super liberating. And much love to everybody in Minneapolis. Like, I'm working with POS on a lot of stuff now. I'm working with former members of Atmosphere on Music. So it's still like incest, even if the label doesn't put it out. I'm still, like, fucking with everybody. I'm in Minneapolis, like, at least once a month, and I've been there. I've been doing that for years now. So I did a tour in winter of, I think, like 2011 or 2010. One of those. These years are passing by. I think it's 2010. And I got asked to come to Europe for 3 weeks. And that was something that everybody thought the label helped me with, and not, like, they totally didn't, you know what I'm saying? So, like, being able to put together a successful European tour, like, by myself and, like, my homie Fluffy, who's been there, you know what I'm saying? Like, doing that on my own and having it be so successful that people thought the label helped me with, like, that was awesome, you know what I mean? Because I could, like, just be proud of it and be like, dude, I can totally do this, and I could do it globally. And I just remember being on a train to Paris, and I started crying. And they were like tears of joy, you know what I'm saying? Just started crying about, damn, like, something I wrote on a paper brought me here. I don't know if I would have ever been doing this, but, like, some words that I wrote, you know what I mean? Like, then it was overwhelming. So, yeah, that's probably one of my favorite, like, touring experiences. It's been, like, really serendipitous how I've been able to take being a chemist, leaving that world, becoming a rapper, and then when I lived out in San Francisco, I just needed money because it's super expensive out there. So I started, like, tutoring kids in chemistry to and it was really good money, actually, because a lot of rich kids like, in my neighborhood. So I started tutoring kids in chemistry, and, like, some of these kids knew me as Psalm 1. So it was, like, the weirdest shit. Like, I go in a kid's house to teach them, you know, formulas and reactions, and they'd be like, yo, you're Psalm 1, what the fuck? And that just, it blew my mind that, like, I was trying to be anonymous, you know what I mean? And, like, that carried over to the point where that made me a better tutor. Some of these kids' parents were like, the fact that they know that you're a rapper, it makes them listen to you more, you know what I'm saying? So I took that back to Chicago, and through tutoring kids in my field, essentially, I became a student mentor, and now I run an after-school program called Rhyme School, where we teach kids about rap jobs, and we give them opportunities to perform and put together shows and videos and stuff. So I think just the intersection of like my education and the rap like is leading me on this crazy like other path that's big. It's way bigger than me rapping, you know what I mean? So that's probably like something I'm most proud of, Rhyme School. I just want people to just think of me as somebody who's like resilient, somebody who like not only with any sort of like labels or anything, but just being able to have longevity, you know what I mean? Still be in the conversation. For me, like, there's rappers, you know, there's entertainers, like, they last literally a year, you know what I'm saying? There's kids buzzing in the Chi right now that next year ain't nobody gonna give a fuck about them. And it's so trendy now, you know what I mean? And so, for me, I think being very anti-trendy and being able to still, like, do what I want to do and make the music that I want to make, I think that's probably the legacy that I want to leave. Like, you know, if you really have a plan and you really are like, if it's really your passion, you will be doing it for a long time, just like me.